Thank you for tuning into Big Red's Mopar Garage. I wanted to just get a couple of things out tonight. I wasn't going to film until the weekend, but some conversations during this week with some people. A couple of things came up that they said, "Oh, I didn't know about that," or "I hadn't heard about that." So I thought these would be, to me, these are some important things when you're building an engine that you should be aware of and watch for and look for during your build. One of the things that I want to talk about is the way the rod is oriented on the crankshaft. The second thing is the orientation of the piston rings on the piston itself. And these will apply to, it doesn't matter if it's a Chevy, a Ford, Chrysler, Mopar, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a stock motor, high performance motor. Uh, these apply to every engine, across the board when it comes to ROV8s. So what I want to talk about first is I'm going to talk about the crankshaft and the rod orientation. And let me show you what we're looking at here. And that is on this connecting rod, you'll see a chamfer on this side. This chamfer is wider than the chamfer over here. And the reason that is this side goes up against what they call the fillet on the crankshaft. And let me show you the fillet on the crank. And the fillet is an area that's right here. And there's one on each side of this journal. And that wide chamfer that will give you the rod orientation, that wide chamfer is supposed to go against this fillet. Then the other side, that rod will be the other way, and that piston has a chamfer that will go against this fillet. And that in turn really determines a lot as far as your rod side clearance. And when we get these pistons put in, I'll show you how that's done and how we check that and what we're looking for on that as soon as we get these pistons in. Like I said, we'll go ahead and do that. So, but there's not a lot, but there were some guys I was talking to this weekend. They had never heard of the fillet. They'd seen the chamfer before, but never realized what it went for. So anyway, I wanted to get that pointed out. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the orientation of the rings on the piston. And let me show you what we're looking at here on this piston. If you take a look, everybody that gives you a set of rings, they will tell you how ring orientation goes. And right here we have the front of the engine. If you want to make this easy for yourself, that way you don't get confused, is the front of the engine, obviously this way. And we're looking at our top gap on that ring goes towards the center of the block, which is what we have right here. Ring number 2, the second ring, they want that pointed towards the outside of the block. And then they give you on your oil ring, they want the gap for the 2 steels. They want them on one side, which is towards the outside. And then they have, for the expander, they want the gap over on this side. And they give you a range. They just want it here on this skirt. And this also, once again, ring end gap applies to stock motors, high performance motors. It doesn't really matter. One of the big things you never want to do, you never want to, your gap, you never want to line them up on a ring so that they're in line with each other. The other thing is you never want to put a ring end gap over your piston pin. That's kind of a no-no. So, and then as far as gap, they'll have you, depending on what you have going on, if you've got nitrous, a blower, if you're naturally aspirated, that all determines ring end gap, the size of the ring end gap. This motor here is just going to be carbureted, single 4-barrel. He's not going to put nitrous on it, he told me. So all these, with the bore, they're all up right at 20. We put the gap in at 20. And what we're looking at as far as the tools for that is right here. This is how you a grinder for your gap. They have different ones. This one's a manual one, just goes right here in the vise, and then you put the ring in there. You always want to make sure that you are going down towards your ring, don't want to go up because you can crack the ring. You want to go down. And you need to really be careful because these doggone things, they take a lot of material off and they do it real quick. You can get carried away and then you got to get another ring. The other thing, this here is for installing the pistons. They have different ones. This is one that is kind of my favorite style. They have some that are a clamp and with an over center handle on it that squeezes the rings together. They also have what they call a band clamp that goes and you cinch it down and knock it in. This to me, this is quick. I've used this thing for ever, years and years. So anyway, I wanted to just get with you tonight, show you a couple of things. Just like I said, I had some conversations this week, and the guys I was talking to had mentioned that they had never seen or heard of these things that we just went over. So I just wanted to give you a little helpful video here to point out what these things are, what they mean, and what you should look for when you're putting your engine together. I'm going to do another video this weekend. I got to go work on my buddy's car. He had a little engine tap. It's a 73 Plymouth 440. Beautiful car. I'll get some video of the car and then I'll show you what we're doing on the engine. But we had to do a little engine repair on it for him. But beautiful car. You get to see that this weekend. That video will probably come out Tuesday or Wednesday this coming week. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see or what I'm doing, do a like button and hit the subscribe button. And I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. So thank you and have a good night.